evening to join me, and so we can go through how you can boost your energy, drop those kilos with zero overwhelm. So if you don't have a drink already, please get one. If you are multitasking, please switch off other devices. It's very easy to get distracted. I know what that's like. So today, hopefully we're going to cover some information you haven't heard before and give you some insight about how we can help you lose those kilos and also increase the energy. So I just want to stretch and get to move a little bit. So my aim is pretty much to share a lot. So there is a lot of information. If it's too much, let me know. I won't be able to see my chat box until we pause in the middle. We're going to be, I like this, so you'll leave here feeling positive and equipped with knowledge that you need to achieve the goals that you do without needing an espresso in the morning to give you the energy boost that you need to get through the day. I remember those days, unfortunately, all too well. So let's have and there we go. Right, so tonight what we're going to do, we're going to discuss the underlying drivers that lead us to not having enough energy. And you'll find out that the reason they go hand in hand with energy and weight. So if we don't have the energy, we gain weight. If we do have the energy, we can lose weight. But if we have excess weight, we decrease our energy. So we get stuck in a very much a circle that goes round and round and round. So 6 nutrients that will energize our cells to help us get the energy that we need, and also the nutritional strategies that we need to enhance our energy production. So I just want to let you know too that at the end, I'm just going to share a little bit about my new coaching program that I've got running, which is my thyroid recovery journey program. And also, if you stick around to the end and you can go into the draw to win a free coaching session with me too. So that'd be really, really cool. Alrighty, so these are what we're going to cover, and let's figure out how to use PowerPoint. I love it. All right, so this one's actually really scary when you realize that 55% of Australians use energy drinks to get them through the day, and I find this one is actually really highest in our younger age groups, so school kids. 33% of them report that they experience a weekly jolt and crash. So what that means is you get a real high from having a drink, and then you get a crash around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. 27% report that they have headaches, and 22% heart palpitations from consuming energy drinks. Now, I found this one actually really quite scary. I find too that that's in our younger crowd, but when we look at perimenopausal women, so women 40 to 60 are the highest alcohol drinkers in our country, which I found phenomenal, and they outstrip the young ones now, and that was frightening. And also 80% of Australian women have some form of thyroid dysfunction, and the stats over increased weight gain in our society has absolutely floored me, and I went, be stuffed. So what are the drivers of our fatigue and our weight gain? Like, as you can see, I've got this nice little picture here, but it's never really one thing. It's very multifaceted. And if you've heard me talk in clinic, I talk about how things are very multifaceted, that there are many different areas that can contribute to this. So we're looking at metabolic disorders. So that's looking at things like thyroid, that's looking at insulin resistance. It's also looking at estrogen imbalance and hormone imbalances. Toxicity is coming from our medications, it's coming from heavy metals, it's coming from our food, it's coming from things that are outgassing and paints and fabrics and furnishings and that sort of stuff. So that's sitting there. We're also looking at poor nutrition. So a standard Australian diet, it's unfortunately really high in packaged foods of saturated fats and low protein and almost minimal vegetables with huge amounts of carbohydrates, and that plays a massive impact on this as well. A high level of inflammation. A lot of this inflammation comes from food sensitivities, leaky gut, or the body is dealing with some form of infection. And it can be such a low-grade infection that you don't realise that it's there. So It can be chronic, it can be acute, it can be a reoccurrence of something like glandular fever, Epstein-Barr virus. The one I got triggered with was laryngitis, which triggered chronic fatigue, which put me out for 4 years. So they don't have to be a big, huge infection that you go, oh, I'm dying in bed and like that. It's these really subacute ones that just sit in the lower levels and they really knock us about. And stress, oh, don't we love it? Body is dealing with stress. Stress is another multifactorial one. Everyone thinks that it has to do with like school stress and work stress and family and kids, but a lot of that is inflammation is stress, poor nutrition is stress, toxicity is stress, metabolic disorders are stress, what we eat is stress. So it's a really, really big picture. And like I said, we can never take one thing. We do have to look at all of it. All right, so we can successfully eliminate fatigue, gain unlimited energy, and drop those kilos. This is a reality. All right, so what is our drivers of fatigue and weight gain? So poor nutrition, this is a biggie. So when we think about all the different factors that can be influenced by our nutritional status, fuel is the primary one. So I like it, if you think of ourselves as a car and we've got to put fuel in it, and to get the best performance we really have to put the best type of fuel in our bodies. So if you had a Porsche, I actually like Lamborghinis personally, but a Porsche, you wouldn't put unleaded fuel in it because you're going to absolutely tank you're going to screw the car up pretty much. So it's the same with us. We really need to make sure that we're putting good quality nutritional food and water into our body to help it actually run, so we can actually lose the weight and increase our energy. So let's have a look. So what's our diet doing? Hang on, let me just move me. It says just what's your diet doing to you? So as I said, a diet high in carbs, low in protein, high in processed foods, high in trans fats lead to nutritional deficiencies. It actually strips you of your B group vitamins, of your magnesium, of your zinc, and these things we need for hormonal health, immune health, to run all our vital systems. I'm sorry, I don't know if you get to see my silly pop-ups. So those wrong food choices, really, they are bloating. And also, a lot of the bloating and belly fat that we carry gets caught into two categories as well. So the one from your rib cage to your belly button is your stress. So that's your cortisol, that insulin, that very much metabolic stum and toxicities. And from belly button to pubic bone is very much estrogen driven, so very hormonal driven, very thyroid driven. And then fat anywhere else in our body is really storing toxins to protect us. So it's actually doing a job that it's designed to do. So, and then unfortunately, it's not really fixed overnight. It is a process. I wish I could make my magic wand and it happen overnight, because that would be fantastic, but it doesn't. And I want you to know too that we can be happy, and this lovely, I can't go back, this lovely lady here is so comfortable in her body, and that's the other thing, is about being comfortable in the size that we are. And if we're uncomfortable, then we need to look at why we're uncomfortable. So there's usually a lot of emotional stuff that goes online. I'm not touching on that today, but it is like this lovely lady, she's just so happy in her own skin, and that's what we all hope to achieve. All right, what are one of the other drivers? So second one is toxicity. So this is another big driver. So toxicity comes in many different forms, and it's like I said, it's really scary when you start realizing that we can't escape toxicity. It is, and toxins, it's everywhere in society. But it can lead to massive physiological changes in the body. And I've seen it in multiple sclerosis and thyroid imbalances and Hashimoto's and Graves, fibromyalgia. We've also got, what's the name of it? Motor neuron disease, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's. All of them come down to a large amount of toxicity that is sitting in the body. All right, so mild toxicity results. So you don't have to have these big, huge things. They can be little things like moodiness and irritability. reproductive and fertility problems, poor memory, fatigue, and weight gain. I know that when we had our carpet cleaned and it was so toxic, the fumes were so bad, I actually couldn't go into the house without getting a blinding headache. So headaches are another really, really big one that can be a sign of toxicity. So, all right, so where do all these toxins come from? So two sources that I am going to cover tonight is heavy metals and pharmaceuticals. And we don't realize that we can become very multi-pharmaceutical, so polypharm, and not just take one pharmaceutical, but take many. And I see that very, very regularly in clinic. And I tend to find too that when I'm doing my thyroid patients, heavy metal testing is one of the big ones that we do need to check to see what heavy metals are in the system, what needs balancing. So it is a really good one. So that's the next one. Yep. All right. So one of the most common compounds are found are mercury, aluminium, and cadmium. So where do you find mercury? Mercury, scarily enough, is found in our big fish. It's found in tuna and in skate. It's also they're in halogen lights, and they've improved the ones so you don't ever want to break one of those suckers and be close because the fumes from them are phenomenal. Aluminium, think of tinfoil, aluminium pans, aluminium serving spoons. So we get them a lot from that too. Mercury is also in your dental amalgams if you still have any. Cadmium's from smoking and passive smoking, and it does stay in the system for quite some time. Alrighty, what else we got? Synthetic chemicals. What do we got here? And so we either ingest them or inhale them on a daily basis. And there are millions of Australians that fatigue is related to the medications that they've been prescribed. Antidepressants is another really big one that I notice. And antidepressants are given to a lot of women with thyroid disorders because they think, unfortunately, it gets told that that's in their head. So that one is a really big one, and it can be a lot to do with iron deficiency. And if you've got an iodine deficiency, mercury, cadmium, you've got your iodides, your bromines, your chlorines, and your fluorides will block your iodines. So they all fall into the heavy metal category as well. So a lot of times if we're taking certain medication, we do lose our magnesium, our B group vitamins, and CoQ10 is huge, especially on statins. And if you're ever on a statin, please make sure that you're taking a CoQ10 because it's really, really important. All right, so these are the types of nutrients, as I say, that we lose. So diuretics, a lot of women take diuretics because they feel like they need to lose water weight. But you also, when that happens, you lose your magnesium, your sodium, potassium, and zinc, and they're huge. NSAIDs, your ibuprofens, that's what that is, so non-steroidal anti-inflammatories, they deplete you. Your beta-adrenics, so your heart medications, CoQ10, your statins, CoQ10, PPIs, you get reflux and you get handed a protein pump inhibitor. And now all of a sudden you're B12 deficient, you're iron deficient, you've got no zinc, no CoQ10, and you're wondering what's going on because it's decreasing the acid when you actually need to have a lot more acid to be able to digest your food. Then unfortunately you get leaky gut. Metformin, I have a few patients on metformin, and B12 and folic acid are huge. We've got to supplement those, and CoQ10 again. HRT medication, so hot flushes, perimenopausal women going into menopause, and you get hot flushes and you're teary and you just can't cope with life. But then we've got to make sure that we're balancing the nutrition that you need to make sure that it counteracts the HRT, but also supports your hormones and your thyroid and all of your other physiological mechanisms within the body. Antibiotics, yeah, well, that's a bit scary. There goes your Bs. There's all your energy sitting there, all your B group vitamins. K is for your bone density as well as for blood. Corticosteroids. Look, and antidepressants, don't you just love it? It gets really, really scary sometimes when we realise that how much pharmaceuticals deplete us of the nutrients that we need to increase our energy, but also to help us lose weight. All right, so how do we deal with them? Okay, our liver's got to cope with it. And if our liver doesn't cope, it shoves it into our fat cells. The next place it goes to is our colon. So that's your bowel or your large intestine. So it's got to shift it out. So we poop. And I talk about poop heaps in clinic. I think everyone's seen my poop chart, and we talk about poop and everyone gets to look at it. So you know if it's a healthy poop or not. And that's really, really important, because when we're constipated, we're actually holding on to those toxins. So we need to get our bowels moving. And when we have Hashimoto's and hypothyroid, we have a lot of a slowing through our bowel. And so things stay in there longer. So we need ways of making sure that we can clear it out a little bit faster. And one of the other best ways that you can do at home today is by dry body brushing. So we eliminate a lot of toxins through our skin. So by sweating is a really good one. So if you've got access to a fire infrared sauna, it makes a big difference. Exercising also helps you sweat. But if that's an issue, then dry body brushing with a body brush, it stimulates your lymphatic system. So what I talked about this morning also helps move that fluid to clear the toxins out of your lymphatic system. So that's a really big one for you as well. And we need to be doing these on a daily basis. All right, what's our next slide? Metabolic. Haha. Third biggest driver of fatigue and weight gain. Alrighty, this one refers to all the complex processes that go inside your body to convert the food you eat into the energy that we need. And that energy we need for everything. All right, metabolic imbalances create absolute havoc on our energy levels. They lead to an overwhelming feeling of fatigue and weight gain that is so hard to shift. And you think you do everything. You go, I eat right, I exercise more long as I flog myself at the gym, and nothing happens. And this is the primary reason why. And if you're ever going through that, why am I not losing weight? We always got to check your thyroid, see what that's doing, because that's covered with the metabolic stuff. Because as I said, the thyroid sets the pace for our body's metabolic rate. And that regulates your menstrual cycle. So perimenopausal women, we're all over the place, but it is so tightly controlled to our energy production and our energy output. So low insulin levels, low thyroid function, low testosterone levels can all directly impact our thyroid, our energy, and our ability to lose weight. It's a bit scary, isn't it? All right. Did you know, statistically, I love it, I get to say that word, show that 1 million Australians have an undiagnosed thyroid disorder, okay? So 80% of women, and the other bit of that one are men. Men are less likely to go through a thyroid dysfunction, even though I know a lot of them, because they don't have the hormonal changes that we do. And this is another big one. We have hormonal changes at puberty, at pregnancy, and at perimenopause to menopause. So we are open for thyroid imbalance 4 times in our life, and that is huge. And we don't educate our children, we don't educate our girls this, and we are not educated unless you study, which I like to study, so I learn lots of this sort of stuff. Okay, so it's estimated 1 in 7 will be affected by some form of thyroid disorder in their lifetime, and you can have transient, you can have it brought on by pregnancy alone, you can have it fluctuate between a hyperstate and a hypostate and just sit there up and down. You can have Hashimoto's without hypothyroidism, you can have hypothyroidism without Hashimoto's, because Hashimoto's is an immune disorder, it's not a hormone disorder, but it is still run by our thyroids. And thyroid dysfunction is currently one of the leading endocrine disorders worldwide, and that even beats out diabetes, which is really, really scary. And I do have the references if anybody wants them as well. So, next one. So this is my favorite one here. Persistent and ongoing fatigue is the #1 symptom of low thyroid function. Everyone goes, it's weight gain. It's not, it's actually fatigue, because fatigue leads to the weight gain. So we've got unexplained weight, we've got difficulty losing weight, we've got dry hair, skin, hair loss, constipation, cold intolerance, hoarseness of voice, and that can be also indicating in silent reflux is also a thyroid disorder. You can get the swelling and the goiters, and hypertension, cognitive impairment, depression, anxiety, dry vagina, no interest in sex, loss of libido. Let's keep going, because thyroid impacts every single process in your body. Think about that one for a minute. And that's why you can have chronic pain. That's why you can have muscular issues. You can have skeletal issues. You can have kidney issues. You can have anything. It's really kind of crappy. So the reason, let's see if it's in the next one. All right, so the reason for this is due to the fact that the signs and symptoms of thyroid disorders overlap with various other conditions. So doctors always look at other conditions first before they'll even go anywhere near your thyroid, and that's kind of crappy. Hormone imbalances, sleep disorders, autoimmune conditions, chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, menopause, depression, and further to this, your doctor's only going to look at your TSH. Because if your TSH falls in that 0.4 to 4, they're not even going to check your T3 and your T4. And that's the scary part. And as you can tell, I'm looking at 1 to 2. So the reference ranges we use are really quite tight. And you've got to be over 4 to be classed as hypothyroid, and you've got to be under 0.4 to be classed as a hyperthyroid. But we like it between 1 and 2. T4 tells you how much thyroid your how much hormone your thyroid is producing, whereas your TSH is what your pituitary is telling your thyroid to make. Okay, so your TSH is a pituitary hormone. Your T4 is what the thyroid is actually producing, and the T3, it produces a smaller amount, but your body's got to convert that T4 to T3 for you to be able to utilize it to have the energy and utilize its metabolic function. Reverse T3 can be seen in high stress states, and it is a blocker for your T3, and it is a natural feedback loop. So in a high stress state, I tend to see that reverse T3 gets really, really high. So you can feel really tired and sluggish even if your T4 and T3 look right. I'm sorry, too much information. TPO, so thyroid peroxidase antibodies, huge indicator of Hashimoto's, whereas your your TG antibodies are a bigger indicator of nodular thyroid disorders, but if they are high over a longer period of time, will also tell you that there's Hashimoto's present as well. So that's it. Just always ask for your blood tests. Be proactive and really understand, because a doctor will go, oh, look, you're fine, and hand them over, but hasn't actually explained them to you at all. And I want you to understand that they are yours, but they are also yours to help you keep on track on your health. Sorry, that's my high horse. I'll get off it. I hope you don't mind. All right, what's my next one? So insulin resistance. This is a biggie, women. Okay, this is huge for us. All right. So this one. So when you have insulin resistance, it means that your cells can't use the insulin effectively that your pancreas secretes when you've eaten something sweet or eating a carbohydrate. Okay. It's got to be able to grab it and put it into the cell. And when it can't and it becomes resistant, it means your blood sugars increase and it stores everything as fat. And that's that lovely roll around underneath your rib cage, but it can be on your arms, it can be on your face, it can be anywhere in your body. Your body needs that insulin to transport these, and you can tell when you've got insulin resistance as well as adrenal fatigue. We're going to cover that soon too, is when you slump around 3 to 4 p.m. in the afternoon and you're going, oh, do I need coffee? Do I need chocolate? Do I need sugar? What do I need? All right, so that's insulin resistance, and that can lead to syndrome X as well. We're not going to cover that one tonight. All right, let's go here. All right, next dry bar. We're going to go here. So stress, love stress. Stress is a shit of a thing. A certain amount of stress is normal. Hey, look, we pretty much get used to it, especially when we've got to learn something new, we've got to do exams and that sort of stuff. But when you think that you are under that pressure when there is no pressure and you have that chronic stress, then it is an issue. We can have it window shopping, we can do it shopping, we can do it driving. How many people do you know that go when they're driving because they get so frustrated and so angry and they'll chase you down if you didn't indicate? It's like, but you have a problem. And over a long period of time, it can lead to some serious health hazards. Okay, so it affects your adrenals. Like there is no tomorrow. That's that one. Right, adrenals. I know so many women go, I have adrenal fatigue. I hate the word adrenal fatigue. I prefer HPA, axis dysfunction. Do you like that one? Basically, it's a part of your brain that tells your body, that tells your adrenals to make energy and make your cortisol and make all your hormones. And that pathway gets disturbed. It's not the fact that your adrenals are unable to produce the energy that is needed. It's just that brain signal is not firing correctly. If the adrenals are truly fatigued, then it's called Cushing's and Addison's disease. And that is actually when there is an autoimmune disorder inside the adrenals themselves. They sit on the top of your kidneys, so in the small of your back, and your adrenals can do so much stuff. They can increase your appetite, turn it off. You know, when you're in fight flight, who wants to eat? Nobody does. You want to eat when you're resting, and if you eat when you're rushing around and you've got so much stress, you don't digest your food anyway. It stimulates our metabolism. It'll either make our thyroid slow up or slow down. As I said, thyroid is your car. Your adrenals are the fuel that you're putting in that car. So it can really seriously slow our thyroid down. It converts our testosterone to our estrogen, and yes, we all have testosterone. It also converts our progesterone for the production of more cortisol, and this is the pregnenolone steal, where it actually steals all our progesterone that we need to make us feel good and turns it into cortisol so we can run from tigers. And we really, it's not good. So increasing and excess cortisol levels are linked to so many symptoms. Okay, so do I have that on the next one? Here we go. So fatigue, blood sugar problems, weight gain, moodiness, anxiety, dizziness, standing up too fast and getting dizzy. Yes, it can be a blood pressure, but it's a lot of the times it's blood sugars. Anxiety is huge. Excess cortisol, you sit there and you're like, yes, it's insane. Menopausal symptoms, hot flushes, woohoo, yep, bring it on, cortisol. And then because our liver's not clearing it effectively, it recycles it through the body and we get a second go at it. So it's not fun. And here comes our low sex drive. A lot of it is due to cortisol, okay? So kind of scary when you realize it, hey, they're not designed to continually pump. They really aren't, but we do it anyway. And we have this outpouring of adrenal in our systems. And we need to calm it down. We really do. All right. So many stress reduction, you'll hear the self-care. I talk about self-care all the time. People go, oh, it's that self-care thing again, really? But when we have thyroid disorders, we gain weight, we've got no energy, we've got adrenal exhaustion, we really need to take care of ourselves. And this is the biggest one that I talk about a lot. What we eat and what we drink make a big difference. Eating slowly, not quickly. Who feels stressed about stress? I know I get stressed about thinking about stress, about all the things that cause me stress, and then it elevates my cortisol level, and then I get anxious, and it's like, stop that. And we've got so much of it going on at the moment as well. So this is my favorite bit, time to participate in our stress-reducing, endorphin-promoting, let's see if my phone will work. I had this going before. It is dance break time. So this is one of my favorite songs to get up and wiggle. So guys, I want you to stand up. I know we get to do this at home, but we're sitting for a long period of time and we're going to sit again. So just get up, shake your hands, shake your booty, and just dance a bit. And just get moving because we want to move our blood through our bodies. We want to move our fluid through our bodies. And it makes you feel happy. So pick a song that makes you feel happy. I can sit down this song. So hopefully everybody's dancing. Alright. But it's one of those things that is really, really good for your self-care. It's really good to move your body. And I don't mean you got to go flog yourself at the gym, but definitely move our body. And dancing's pretty cool. Actually, I think I can get this to turn. Let's see if it does. Oh, there we go. I learn something new every day with technology. All right, what's our next driver of fatigue and weight gain? Let's have a look. It's infection. So we talked about this. These are our chronic hidden infections. They can be very subtle. They can go unrecognized. So we talk about viruses like infections. H. pylori is one of the biggest ones. And a lot of the times it's when you have low gastric acid, H. pylori creeps in, leaky gut, low-grade infection. Food allergies is another really big one, low-grade infections, and it kicks in that immune system, and it's always on the go. Tend to see it when in blood tests when the white blood cell count is lower. But viruses like glandular fever, the herpes virus, they affect our mitochondria long term. So if you had glandular fever as a kid, you've still got glandular fever in your system, and all it takes is a small little cold or flu or infection to kick in for it to pop back up, especially if you are really, really stressed. All right, so we know that acute viruses and bacteria can make you feel tired and low in energy as the body fights off its infection. That's why you want to stay in bed. Who wants to get out of bed when it's sick? You know, that's just Netflix. It's so much more fun. But that's not the sort of infection. We're talking the hidden, the chronic. Okay, and we go hunting. So if there's a history of tonsillitis as a child, of ear infections, of chest infections, of pneumonia, Epstein-Barr virus, cold sores, herpes, glandular fever, any of those, we need to really look and see, are they dormant or are they active? So it's one of those ones, and they just seriously can be a root cause of hypothyroidism, hyperthyroids, the poor guys that are running a million miles an hour, and also Graves and Hashimoto's. So they are really, really big drivers, but also can be an underlying issue for chronic fatigue syndrome. And I see that a lot in clinic as well, especially H. pylori. All right, so what are mitochondria? Do you know this one? Everyone goes, they are the powerhouses of our cells. I can hear my kids even saying this to me, because that's all they're taught, is they're the powerhouse of the cell. That's what actually in that little squiggly bit inside those cells is where the energy is made. And for each energy cell takes 33 units of magnesium, which is why magnesium is so important. Just throw that one in. So if our mitochondria function is impaired, we really do have a decrease in our energy, and it can be that type of energy where you trip over your own feet. Like, it's so hard to actually pick up a foot and put it in front of you that you fall over. And yeah, we don't want to go on that. So we're going to talk more about energy later on as well. Oh, crash bang wallet. Hang on, I'm just going to have a quick drink. Okay, sorry guys, I didn't let one of my dad's break. I was too busy dancing. Alrighty, let's have a look. See. So, did you know that mitochondria have a lifespan of 9 days? Now, I actually didn't. This, when I was researching this, I was really surprised at, because I know our gut lining is 21 days, but I didn't know that. And our blood cells are 109 days. But this one, I was really surprised at. So in 9 short days, you can actually make positive changes. 8 days, 1 more day, 9 days, definitely. And you do see changes. But and then it takes 100 days to implement a new habit too. So 9 days, you can do a lot in 9 days. Imagine how good you could feel when you actually start implementing the strategies that we're going to talk about, and how you can maximize your mitochondria and kick in your energy production and help you start to lose those kilos really, really easily. All right. This is my other biggie, which is the other biggest, what do you call it, infection. I see in clinic a fair bit is SIBO. You may have heard of SIBO, but it's small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. Basically, it means the bacteria that's supposed to be in your bowel is in your small intestine, and it can come up as high as your stomach. A lot of times if you have people with bad breath and they smell like a sewer, is the valves aren't working, and SIBO is a really big cause of that. It can be one of the reasons there's chronic bloating and where every other strategy you've put into place hasn't worked. So it leads to malabsorption and malnutrition because it's actually stealing all your nutrients. You're not actually absorbing the nutrients you want because the bacteria is taking it. So we see issues with our proteins. So protein can be really low on our blood tests. We have issues with carb. We get really windy and gassy. We have issues with digesting and processing our fats. So we can end up with really slippery, floaty, sticky poo that sticks to the sides of toilets. And you can feel really nauseous and sick because your gallbladder's it's trying really hard to do its job, but the bacteria is taking it all. B12 deficiency, calcium deficiency, and then all your fat-soluble vitamins. So these lovely fat-soluble vitamins are transported by your lymphatic system, but you've got to be able to digest them first. So it's really tough. So it is one that we look at quite closely in clinic as well, if nothing else works. All right, dysbiosis, really it's most accurately described as a loss of diversity in the bacteria that live in our body, and we are, I think, 90% bacteria and 10% human. Wow, we're a host. So we're always looking about having a wide range of different foods, a wide range of different colours and types of the same product. So if you're looking at apples, you'd have a pink apple, a green apple, a yellow apple, you know, a gala apple. You get different bacteria from each of those, so you can actually increase your microbiome that way. So we're full of bacteria. It's pretty cool, but this is when we have a loss of our diversity and it kicks in and we get bloated. We can get windy, up and down, and we lose the bacteria that we need to help metabolize our estrogens. We lose them that help us break down our fats, help us actually lose weight rather than gain weight. And that's really frustrating because that's why they were doing fecal transplants at one stage to try and correct this problem, because they needed to figure out how to put in a healthier bacteria back into the bodies of fat mice. They did it with mice before they did it with humans, and it actually showed that fat mouses got skinny. I wouldn't really go down the fecal transplant though. A really good probiotic can work, but it has to be the right probiotic for the right thing, and it's not just going and taking one off the shelf and go, hey, this will work. It really is very, very specific to specific disorders. Alrighty, so it messes with your metabolism, messes with your intestinal function, motility, you know, that's how fast things go through your system, and how if you have constipation or diarrhea as well. And it also helps protect us against pathogens, against bacteria, against viruses. So it is a really big one. So dysbiosis is huge that I find. Now the next biggest one, this is massive, inflammation. Yay, bring it on. Inflammation is very invisible. We don't realize we have inflammation. Now I'll show you very differently what thermal imaging looks like with inflammation on one of my patients. So you should be able to, yep, I think, all right, so something like this. So this is inflammation you would not normally know. So everything that is red and orange and stuff is inflammation. But you would not see this if you looked at the person. You wouldn't see it. So it is very, very hidden. But it will show in different ways. So I was really grateful to be able to get those images from one of my patients. So it's like, wow, now we can see what's going on. So I talk a lot about gluten, especially for thyroid disorders and autoimmune disorders, because gluten actually damages our mucous membrane. Like for celiacs, it'll kill the villi, which are these little fingers in there. What else it does, it causes leaky gut, so it gets down in between the villi, down into here. It opens the gate and allows things through. So if you think it opens the gate like this and it leaves holes, inside the mucous membrane, and things get in that shouldn't be there, and that causes inflammation. So a lot of the times you're getting that from food allergies are massive for inflammation. Gluten's a big one, dairy's another big one, soy can be one. A lot of your chemical numbers, what do you call it? It's when my brain's not working. I've got a trachea and it's going this way. Refined sugar's massive. We're talking, what else is there? Wheat, dairy, soy, refined sugar are all the common ones, and then you've got your peanuts, your soy, your fish, are your next ones. Then you've got your food allergies, your anaphylaxis, and then your lower grade food allergies. But this inflammation affects your energy. It affects how you move, how you breathe, how you think, and it slows you down, and it also leads to weight gain because your body's trying to protect itself again. Okay, so this inflammation does this. It makes us go like this, and our body is trying so hard to protect us. All right, what are the other ones? I know I'm trying to cover so much in such a short time, and it really isn't the place for me to be covering everything. So, but just, if anything at all, like, the idea of going gluten-free is not about replacing a wheat-based product for a gluten-free based product. It really is about eating fruit and veggies, and we're going to cover that too. Which is now, this is my best slide. Out of everything, this is the best one, guys. So, what we want to do, we want to eat foods rich in unrefined, unprocessed carbohydrates. What are those? They're your root veggies. So your pumpkins, your potatoes, your carrots, your parsnips, all of those. Plus they also include your rice, your beans, and your legumes, so your legumes, so lentils, they all fall into your carbohydrate ones, and they're not processed. Proteins, organic if you can get them, grass-fed if you can get it, but proteins and your good quality fats. So avocados, coconuts, if you can tolerate dairy and you don't have an allergy to dairy, butter or ghee. Ghee's even better because it's actually taken the protein out of the butter and you still get a really good cooking substance. But this is how we really supply all those nutrients that we need for our body. And as I said, for the greatest amount of bacteria that we need, it's like, how many different types of apples can you have? Like, do you have orange carrots and purple carrots? Are you eating purple cabbage and green cabbage? I love it when you get to use seeds, because you can have pepitas, sesame seeds, sunflower seeds. So there's a wide range. Nuts, a wide range. So having that wide range of different colours, all the colours, gives you the most amount of nutrition. Avoiding or limiting our stimulants as much as we can. Coffee, energy drinks, chocolate, alcohol, because I didn't put that one there. Sometimes a coffee a day is good, as long as it doesn't leave you frazzled or feeling like you're shaking, then coffee's okay. And coffee's processed by your liver, not your adrenals. But we crave it when our adrenals are tired, and that's all the stuff that we've talked about already. Sleeping for 7 to 9 hours a night. So I have so many of my Hashimoto women that sleep over 10 hours easily. So it's about bringing that back into a good quality sleep. At night, wearing blue blocker glasses if you have them, or most phones these days have a night screen that makes it go brown. Some computers have them, so this computer's got a brown screen on it that I use, so I can use it in the evenings. It's about having, as children, like, we set them up on a sleep schedule. Like, you have dinner, you have a bath, you have story time, it's bedtime. As adults, we forget about that. We are rushing and eating our tea, we're sitting down and watching Netflix, or we're trying to finish work and then we go to bed and we wonder why we can't sleep. So sleep hygiene is a huge part to increasing your energy and losing weight. Because if you don't sleep well, that means your body is not processing everything it needs to, and so you won't lose weight. De-stress. Hey, look, go outside, sing and dance, find what brings joy to your life. And another tip with singing is it actually stimulates your vagal nerve. So if you've actually heard me talk, I do a lot about singing, because your vagal nerve is one of your cranial nerves, and it comes down through your neck, and it goes straight down into your abdomen, and it activates all your immune cells in your abdomen. But what it does, it innervates your thyroid. So it's actually really beneficial to help managing thyroid symptoms and supporting your immune system. So sing in the car, sing in the shower, sing loud and proud, because you're actually doing yourself such a benefit to do it. And then do anything else that helps. And self-care is essential. It is not selfish, okay? If you can't look after you, you're not going to be any help to look after anybody else. So it is essential that you look after yourself first. Exercise 4 times a week. This can be walking, it can be yoga, it can be Pilates, it can be swimming, it can be something that is slow and nothing that's going to really have you wanting to vomit. We don't want to go there. And stay hydrated. The amount of times that I have women in clinic who don't even drink 500 mils of water a day, and they wonder why they're constipated and why they have antibodies that are 10,000. It's really scary when they get that high. But hydration does so much more for you, and it's really, really, really important. All right, so those, out of everything, I talk about these all the time, and everyone goes, it can't be the same thing, but it is. This is what leads to giving you the most amount of energy and reducing antibodies. It's about helping you lose weight, getting a good night's sleep. And I've been in remission a couple of times, and I still am, which I'm fantastic. And I do these things. So I know they work. So thank you. I do want to appreciate all of you for actually staying around. It's fantastic. So I am launching my thyroid and hormone recovery program. This is your journey to your health. This is my 3rd year of running the program. I ran it twice last year and twice the year before, and due to COVID and everything, it was like, nah, we're going to do it again. So the program is $497 tonight. I chuck as many bonuses in as I could possibly. So the program's worth about $997. But you've got naturopathic yoga in there. You're going to have ebooks to read. You're going to have, do I have my list? It's on another page. There is so much in there for you, but it leads you to feeling the best you ever. It gives you all the energy that you want. It teaches you how to eat well and eat healthily. You have meal plans already made up for you. So if you're so tired, you've got to go, oh, that's what I'm eating tonight. So it's really, really good. And I find that is the best thing. You don't have to make your mind up tonight. I will send you out an email with even more information so you can make your mind up. What have I got here? So this, I just want to let you see a couple of some of my ladies who've done the recovery program already. Anne was great. She just had so much issues, never knowing what to eat and when to eat it. So for her, having a shopping list and menu plans and her recipe guide was perfect for her, and she needed to de-stress. Whereas Michelle did well. I was so proud of her. So she, in 4 months, she went from 108 centimetre waist to 87. So I was so impressed with her, with seeing what she did. Now, don't use scales, guys. That's the biggest one here. Use a tape measure, never scales. Scales lie. They lie. You could stand on a set of scales 4 times in a day and it'll give you 4 different readings. Don't do it. Have I got Rita? Rita was one of my original ladies who did the course, and she liked, because she was just so overwhelmed, I think, at the start, because there were so many videos. And once you have the program, you have it for life too. But there's a lot of information, and you can pick and choose out of it what you want to watch and what you want to read. It's up to you. Julie, I think, did my 2nd round. That was a while ago. And there are no silly questions. Please remember that. It's ask away. It's one of the best things. All right, so I do have a landing page for it, so it is there, but I'm going to send it out, so don't stress about it. Just wondering, do I have anything else? No. How do I stop? Let's stop there and we go to here. Alrighty, so I have 3 of you here, and I know I have 15. So how do I do my spinny thing? Let's go spin. Whoops, we don't want to play music again. So we cancelled that one. Scary part is if I go into there, I have baby bus. This is what happens when you have grandchildren who play with your phone. So we've got wheel, H, can I spell? I should have done this before we started, hey, just to make it fair. Because you 3 are here, so, and then you go, pick me, like free coaching. It's a free coaching session, pretty much, what you're up for at the moment. What do I want? What do you call it? Ticket wheel. Let's see if that one works, because I did one of these the other day. Okay, that's not going to work. All right. Okay, so I have Galaxy S9, I have Elizabeth, and I have Karen. So you 3, hang on, I'll ring my daughter and tell her to pick a number from 1 to 3. Elizabeth, you're 1, Galaxy, you're 2, and Karen, you're 3. Let's see, hopefully she's not in the middle of bathing children. Results. And actually, Nick, she'll answer her phone. Oh, no, not that one. What happens when you hit voice chat instead? Come on, Nick. Don't you? Bless children.
Hi.
Okay, I'm live on site. Can you pick a number between 1 and 3, please?
1 and 3?
Yeah, there's only 3. 3 people. Pick 1, 2, or 3.
3.
Thank you. That's all. I'll talk to you later. Bye.
You're alright. I was going to say 16, but apparently that's not in between your parameters.
That
You're alright.
All right. Bye. 3's good. Thanks, love. Bye.
Love you. Bye.
Don't you love children? All right, 3. So that's Karen. You have a 30-minute call with me. So I'll touch base with you on that one as well. I'll send you all out an email with the recording in the next by the weekend, so in the next couple of days. It'll have information on the program if you're interested. I do have a thyroid group too if you're interested in that as well, but I think everybody's in there already. I'm not too sure about everybody else, but thank you. I do appreciate it. Thank you so much for spending the time to wanting to get your health on track and to get on top of everything, and I hope that you've gained something from tonight. If you have any questions, please let me know. Okay, let me just, what about me, Galaxy? Yes, you were in there. I like that. You were in there, so I've got you. So you were number 2, Galaxy. I don't know your name, so, but number 3 won it. So it's all good. So I'm going to send out you some information, just so you can read it yourselves and make your minds up. Has anybody else got any questions from this evening, from what they've heard already? Lower all hands. Okay, that's funny. Don't you love it when... Okay. All right, Elizabeth, you've got any questions at all? Galaxy, do you have anything else? No. And Karen? All right, thank you, Galaxy. Thanks. Don't know who you are, but thank you so much. Like I said, if you can all touch base with me, my email is discoverthepower@bigpond.com. If you want to send me an email, you can contact me via Facebook, via Messenger, and or via my business page. Send me a message through there and I'll get that too. I know it can be really uncomfortable sometimes to post in a chat in a Zoom call, but I want to say thank you again, everyone. I really do appreciate you attending this evening, and have a fantastic night, and you will get the recording shortly. All right, take care, guys. See ya.